Okay, we're recording now. We're already live. Ain't nobody watching us right now. We're a little bit early.
Are we
2 minutes.
live?
Yeah, about
Hey.
2 minutes early.
Hey, but well, you can tell. I mean, you can't tell by looking at me, but I am alive.
You look better than Larry King.
Do it?
Yeah, not much.
How about that? Oh, Lord.
I hear you bought a car yesterday.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. But I'm more proud of my plumbing expedition. You know, you see all these stories on television how the plumbers are ripping people off, you know, and I'm gonna tell, I'm gonna call any names because I really don't even, yeah, I do remember the name of the plumbing company, but I had plumbing trouble down in North Carolina, which is like 300-something miles away.
Yeah.
And so I called, well, actually what it was, had some drains stopped up.
Put it
And
right there and it'll work.
had some drains stopped
I
up.
mean on your shirt. You can hook it on your
Oh.
shirt.
Okay, let me do that. Well, whether this works or not, I had some drains stopped up.
Okay.
And, the house was built, I believe, about 1951, 1952. So you think the roof's going to stay up?
I'm going over yonder and get in the closet if it don't settle down some.
1951, 51 is when the house was built, and naturally you use a metal pipe for your drain and also your metal pipe for your incoming water. Use old cast iron for your main pipe going out to the city. And as usual back then they didn't put adequate vents in there to really help the water move fast still like it should. Long story short, my renter moved in. He had a kitchen sink and a bathroom sink stopped up. It just would not void itself. Commode worked, tub worked, washing machine lines worked. So he really didn't have but two sinks stopped up. So he finally called me and says, I just cannot get these sinks unstopped. I said, well, let me call a plumber, which I did. And he went over and he called me back and says, well, those old lines are so stopped up and the way those traps are in there, my little thing that you rod the lines out with and clean them out with will not go through those lines. I said, well, what do you need to do? He said, well, you need to replace that old metal pipe with PVC pipe. I said, well, do you have any idea what it would cost if I had that done? He said, yeah, I figured it up. It would cost $2,500. Well, I told him, I said, I just don't have $2,500 to put in that house right now. I said, I'll have to make some other arrangements. I don't know what I'll have to do. Well, really that ain't what I really wanted to tell him, but I figured he might cause trouble with inspectors and everything else if I told him really what I wanted to tell him, you know. And I could not repeat it here on television even if I could. But I told him I'd
You
make
can say
other,
anything on the internet.
I told him I'd make other arrangements. I don't guess he knew that I understood plumbing or that I had plumbed in the past, but the area that was to be plumbed from the sink to the outfall was less than 15 feet. And where they all came together under there was less than 10 feet. And then you had the tub, the washing machine, the bathroom sink, and the kitchen sink all came into two lines that went into the...
Could you get to everything okay?
Uh,
Could you get to everything okay?
Oh yeah, well, what I did, I replaced all of that metal pipe, and you can change one time, you can't change back. In other words, you can't have metal, PVC metal again. You got, when you change, you got to go all the way out to your outfall line.
Why?
That's code in North Carolina. I don't know what the code is here, but that's the code in North Carolina. So I replaced all of that for less than $60 worth of materials. And my helper, who had no experience at all in plumbing and didn't really, for what we needed to do, didn't need any.
Did you get it inspected? You get it
No,
inspected?
you have to have it inspected.
Well, how are they going to know how many times you changed from plastic
Well,
to metal?
if they ever were to go under there, I mean, I did it according to code, if they ever have to go in there, because I come all the way out with the PVC into the outfall. I changed all the traps. That's where they were stopped up, really. And I mean, really, you couldn't knock it out with a hammer and a steel rod. I mean, it was really just almost fused together. So for $60, and we were there about 5 hours at that house, even though a couple of those hours we were waiting for the people to come home. We were just doing what we had to do, you know, because we couldn't get up into the house. I could have had a key, but I wasn't going to go into people's house without them being there. So when we come back the next day, in about an hour, we finished up what we had to finish. So I wound up, plumbing it for counting my trip and everything to under probably about $325 as opposed to $2,500 that they wanted to do it. And $200.
Well, you know, you could contribute the rest of it to a worthy cause.
Yeah, I reckon I could. Me.
No, I was thinking of another worthy cause.
Me contributed to me. But you know, it wouldn't have cost that much if I had been there, because over 200 of it was trip expense, motel expense, food on the way down while we were there, and food on the way back, and fuel. But now the fuel, let me tell you, I drove our little Chevrolet Nova down there.
Yeah.
And we checked it on the first tank. It got 36 miles to the gallon, and that was running. We run it right at 60 miles an hour, you know. And I mean, we really getting some wind out there. In my mobile home, I hope it ain't laying over on the side when I go back. You know.
I'm thinking it don't come blowing by here.
See the front of it come around. Yeah. No, I'm facing the other direction. So. No,
that'd be the back end hit us if it's facing the other direction.
So that tells you a little bit about my trip down to North Carolina. I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad Ronnie took care of everything up here. He's got everything running smooth. And,
you really believe that, do you?
Huh?
You really believe that, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, if you'd have built that there place out of concrete down there, you wouldn't have had all that problem.
Yeah, I know. I should have made me some pipes out of concrete, I guess.
Yep.
They got them down there, but I don't believe any of them are that small.
That Dixie concrete will go to any size.
Right, yeah. Probably I need to make me a concrete boat down there to go in the lake when I pump sand.
You need to make you a concrete house to get in if this wind don't settle down.
Need to call them up and get them put a few little blocks up on the roof.
Yeah, that's just that tin flapped over that little cover piece on that down there, but it ain't sounding real good out there.
Right.
I'm wanting me a Dixie concrete house to get in.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be a bit scared then.
I guarantee you, the chandeliers will not wave in a Dixie concrete house.
And if you'll notice, I've got some of Digger's propane working.
I was down at Digger's today, too.
I was down there Friday. I was down there in the middle of the road in Sawmill Holler.
Right,
562-5444.
That's where I was, right down there in the middle of the road.
Yeah. And, I went in the back way and snuck up on him.
Did you?
Yeah, turned off at Burger King.
I didn't get snuck up on him because I couldn't catch him inside. He was outside today in all this rain and everything.
Well, I didn't go down there today. It's kind of peaceful Friday.
Right. But
you better have a little backup. Electricity could go off tonight.
It very well could. Very well could.
And you'd be sitting out there in the rain and shivering.
Well, as far as I know, I got plenty. I got 30, 70 pounds of Digger's propane. Of course, 20 of that will go down to Elizabeth out of bag, you know.
I've got a spare tank sitting over there.
Right.
So what else is going on, Bobby T? You got your solar panels in so you don't have to pay taxes next year?
Well, I don't know, you know. We need to work on that a little bit and see if we can't get our little plan for solar panels on the incubation schedule.
That'd be a good business to go into, wouldn't it?
Hmm?
That'd be a good business to go into.
What, solar panels?
Yeah, we get that incubator to sponsor us.
Yeah. Well, see, you know, all they got to do is just co-sign a bond or two for us, you know.
Yeah.
We
Wouldn't be responsible for nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, we wouldn't be responsible.
We only need to come up $45,000-$50,000, you know.
No. I was thinking about 3 or 4 million.
Well, yeah, that's right. They wouldn't.
We may want to throw in a hotel. Let's go ahead and get a few more million.
Sure, might as well, you know. Why don't we build us a convention center and put solar panels on it and let them solar panels pay for the convention?
You know, I hadn't even thought of that, but that'd be a real bell ringer.
That way you don't make a difference whether you have any conventioneers or not, you know.
You'd still make a profit.
Because the sun's going to shine every day.
And night too.
Well, you about have
You know,
to.
the sun is shining somewhere all the time.
Is that right? That's about like this guy was going to build him a rocket to go to the sun. And people said, well, man, you'll burn up before you get there. He said, no, I'm going to go at night.
Yeah. Smart man.
Yeah.
He must have been one of the local government engineers.
He worked for the government before he got his training.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll tell you this sequester that we're going through, I don't know what I'm going to ever get over all this economic problem we're having.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay?
As a businessman,
Okay.
let's suppose that you're running a little business and you just had plenty of business and plenty of income, so you just rolling in dough. So you had one crew out of sprucing up the grounds, you know, and making it look pretty. Everything's okay, but you're just making it look a little better. And you was paying that crew, and you had another crew over here that was maintaining a crucial piece of equipment for your business. And suddenly, your money just got cut in half. Which crew would you lay off and which one would you keep?
Well, if I wanted to inflict pain...
No, I want to know what you'd do as a businessman.
If I wanted to inflict pain on the American population...
That ain't what I asked you.
You know, I would cut the spruce up crew.
Okay, now let's go to government now, and you can give me that opinion.
Right.
Let's suppose you had 2 crews working, and one of them was the police and fire department and ambulance service, and the other one was putting statues in that there park downtown La Follette.
Okay.
And your money got cut in half. As a government official, which crew would you cut off?
Well, being a politician, if I were in the government, I'd be a politician, and I would cut the needed services off so the people would start hollering that we needed more money for the government.
That's right.
You know, and that's exactly... See, Barack Obama has embarked on a policy of excruciating pain on the people of this country ever since he took office. To have to pay $3.75 average across this country for gasoline, and to pay it to a foreign country, to foreign countries mainly, rather than paying it to ourselves, the government is inflicting excruciating pain and inconvenience on the American population. Now, one of the reasons that we don't approve of drilling here and the Keystone Pipeline and all those things, it's not just the pressure of the environmentalists, but the former president of this country, William Jefferson Clinton, gets a salary from the Saudi Arabian government in the amount of $30 million a year. Now,
I wonder if it'd harm me.
Use all the influence he can to keep us buying petroleum from Saudi Arabia, rather than producing it ourselves.
Well, the environmentalists are just useful tools. They're just useful food is what they are.
Right, yeah.
And
Useless food.
yeah, what was it? They called them convenient foods. Them
Yeah, convenient food.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they, and I have a daughter that's one of those convenient foods.
Can't you convert her?
Yeah, I'm working on her. You know, I have her do little projects, or I don't give her any money that will.
Well, what you have to do sometimes is get a little older before you understand.
Well,
It's hard to go through college and not get indoctrinated.
Well, you know, today's liberals or tomorrow's conservatives. They, when you get older and smarter, you give up all these grandiose ideas that you had that you're going to go out here and save the world and free all those people over there in the Niger Delta from having to work for those horrible oil companies. Let them go back to headhunting and cannibalism and all that sort of thing, you know. But heavens no, don't work for an oil company.
Well, you know, the thing about it is they condemn these companies for having these sweatshops and countries where they just pay $3 a day, but they don't have no trouble getting help.
No.
That's a blessing to them people.
Right.
You start out hiring people for $3 and they'll work their way up. I mean, it takes time to change. You can't just go in and impose it. First off, there's nobody going to go pay the same wages in Cambodia that they pay here. But if they did,
then there wouldn't nobody work.
Well, they would, yeah, but they wouldn't need to go if they wasn't going for a savings. So that brings the industry in, and the people. I mean, I'm not for having them work in places where they get killed and cut their fingers off and just forget about them and do like they done in the Triangle Shirt Factory up there and and block the doors and let them burn
like
it.
They did in that nursing home where they won't give CPR. You know.
I ain't for putting people in working conditions like that. But if it's for their betterment to work for $3 a day rather than work for $3 a month,
right,
then let them work for $3 a day. They'll work their way up the time.
Well, one of those countries over there, I believe it may be Mali, where they are having the terrorists, what do you call them people? Whatever it is, that Muslim group.
Al-Qaeda?
Yeah, Al-Qaeda, to move in. They only move into countries that are very, very poor, and I think the average wage there is something like $1.80 a month, $1.80 a month, you know, which is like something like 60 cents a day, you know. And
That ain't right.
huh?
That ain't right. Maybe 6 cents a day.
Yeah, 6 cents a day, like 6 cents a day, yeah. And I just forgot to move my decimal.
You didn't move your zero over, did you?
I didn't move my decimal.
That's just 1%.
I mean, it's hard to live off that 1%.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, them people, if they could make $3 a day, they'd be studded up for a while, wouldn't
Oh man, yeah, they probably would even put doors on their mud huts. You know, they said that Barack Obama's grandma didn't even have a door on her mud hut until they went over there to interview her.
Yeah.
They got her a door, and then they ran an electric wire from the nearest electrical outlet, which was probably several thousand feet away, where she would have a light on in there.
She wasn't living in a trailer, was she? Piggybacking off her neighbor.
Mobile homes.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh Lord!
Well, how do these people live with themselves? They actually think they're doing a great thing for humanity by bringing us into an even distribution of wealth, and they've got close relatives that living in utter squalor and won't even send them $3 for Christmas.
Right, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You know, the notion that everybody is created equal is a valid notion under God and supposedly under the government. that does not mean that they have equal results in life. And that's what they're striving for, is equal results, or they.
Well, you can stop and think about it. Whenever you've got managers, when you've got central planning, you don't spread the wealth, you spread the poverty.
Right, that's exactly what's happened here in this country, and I think, it's kind of like, on our audience here, we're more or less preaching to the choir in a lot of ways, and because, that daughter of mine, I encourage her to watch Fox News, and she's kind of like Obama. She feels like that Fox News is just an impediment to prosperity in this country. And that's the way Barack Obama, he honestly believes that what he thinks and what he proposes and what he wants to do is absolutely the right thing to do, even though he keeps doing the same thing over and over again. He keeps getting the same results.
Well, I think he's getting the results he wants. I think he wants to bring this country to its knees and reform it as a socialist country.
Think so too. I really do.
Now, the Republicans are more noted for fascism. They want to pretend like that they are for capitalism, but they're into the crony capitalism so thick. Right. It gets to be that the government is regulating for the benefit of a few,
right,
over the rights of the many.
Right. Well, that was very, very evident in Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah.
That was more or less a fascist type of a situation.
We've had some, I'd say, poor old Jimmy Carter, he was lost, but I'd say that Richard Nixon probably done more long-term damage to this country than Jimmy Carter, because Jimmy Carter's stuff was mostly economic. He didn't stay in there long enough to do much more. Right. And I think he really did have good intentions, just stupid uninformed methods.
Right.
But Nixon took off the gold standard and started the regulations that have got out of hand.
Right.
I mean, I know, yeah.
Agency and everything. Yeah, he started all those things.
I know what, LBJ put us on the road to bankruptcy.
Right.
And then Nixon come along and put us on the road to over-regulation.
Right.
And it ain't been nothing but a mess ever since, and getting worse. The very beginning of our trouble was the progressive movement, and Teddy Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson, and then the FDR. Right. Now, if we had Calvin Coolidge back in there, we'd been busy.
Calvin Coolidge, yeah.
He went in and just at the beginning of a major recession, and his solution was hush and let it work. It'd take care of itself, and it did.
Right.
And he left in prosperity, and he chose not to run again.
Right. That's the truth, really. But, when our country has worked the best was when it has worked as it was intended.
Yeah.
And they try to say that our Constitution is an archaic document. That there's some advocacy to do away with the Constitution. But if you adhere to the Constitution and its original intent, where man is free to develop his own self, his own abilities to their fullest extent, as long as they don't grind his neighbor and his competitors in the ground, that he ought to be free to do that. And I feel like the government ought to operate maybe like I did when I was a sales manager for a big organization. They said, "You're a good sales manager." I said, "No, I'm not a manager." I said, "It's not my job to manage these salespeople. It's my job to turn them loose." And I didn't want to manage them as long as they were ethical. I always told them, I said, "You make sure the people you're talking to understand perfectly what you're saying, whether they do or not."
Yeah, that's always a good
Make
thing.
sure they feel like they understand what you're saying.
I want you to go out there. I want you to go out there and make us an honest dollar. And if you can't make an honest dollar, make a dollar.
Make us $2.
Extra dollar.
Right. But no, I really had that philosophy. I said, you know, a lot of people, when you're dealing in a product, whether it's a technical product or an intrinsic product, the people that you are dealing with never fully have as much information or as much knowledge as you do. And I always talk my salespeople, you give them as much information as they need to buy.
Don't give them enough to know
You
not about it.
don't need to make them an expert in that field. Even I've sold swimming pools. You can talk technical data as far as swimming
Would you
pools.
explain to them that they need a damper on the diving board?
Yeah. As Chuck, if I didn't show him that house where that fellow lives,
Yeah.
that had that diving board, we went right by Joe's house. I said, now you see that house sitting up there? I said, when he hit that diving board, I said, he can see over the top of that house. And I said, right on down here, about 4 miles from there, I said, right down the left, that's where he bought that diving board. He bought it from Delk's Army Surplus down there. I said, that's where he bought it.
Is he still alive?
I said, Leighton just didn't know it was Dempsey that sold it to him, Dempsey did. I said, Dempsey just didn't bother to tell him he needed another apparatus on the end of that diving board.
Yeah. Did he, is
He's still living, Joe
Okay.
is. I mean, it cracks him up real big. He's a big
Yeah.
trout man. I mean, he could pick up a lot more than I could, you know. And he was older than I was, but I imagine he's about 90. But they said Joe was still living.
I wonder if he's been on any flying trips lately.
I don't think he has, really. Yeah, but I showed Chuck. We went right by where Joe lived, and we also went right by the Army Surplus store. And, so
What town was you in?
it's in Asheboro.
Mm.
Now, the surplus store is out in the county, okay? But Joe lives actually in the city limits of Asheboro, just right on the western edge of the city of Asheboro on Highway 64. Same one that runs down here through Chattanooga and runs across the mountain through Andrews, North Carolina, same highway.
You know, I don't know about naming the place Andrews.
What?
I don't know about naming the town Andrews. I believe if I lived there, I'd move.
Well, I don't know either. You know, that's where...
Go to Sharpsburg. Go to Sharpsburg.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. And, you know, what was the guy's name that blew all them peoples up at the World Trade Fair and everything? He was from Andrews, North Carolina, down there.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. One that was protesting abortion. He lived in the woods for so long.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, and they caught him fishing around in a dumpster, yeah, for something to eat, you know. And, he was about ready to come in, I guess, and then he had been out there too long.
You know where the dumpster originated?
Howard Johnson. Huh?
Over in Knoxville, yeah.
Huh?
In Knoxville, it's a Knoxville-based company.
Really? How about that? Do you know how come that? You know how come they painted them yellow, orange, don't you? So they'd think they was eating the Howard Johnsons. The hippies would.
Think so. I've heard that before, but that wasn't. Well, never mind who it was. But now, no, what was his name? William Dempster. I don't remember his first name. But Dempster invented that system over there, and the original company for Dempster dumpsters was in Knoxville.
Right, how about that?
And then they sold it, and of course it ain't Dempster dumpsters no more.
Right.
And everybody's got a dumpster now.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's interesting. But I also went right by the place where Andrew Jackson had his first law office, which is nothing there right now. Well, it's just an area between two houses, you know. Because I can remember when the remains of the old McLeansville Hotel was up there, and ruins of it. It got burned down. Remember when the depot was there? There's no depot there now. There's no ruins of the old hotel. There's no Andrew Jackson log building there anymore. Of course, they tore that down, moved that down before I moved out from in there. So we had a pretty good little trip.
Let me ask you another question. Did you ever hear of Robert Shaw?
Seems like I have, I don't
You've
know.
heard of Robert Shaw Controls, ain't you? Makes thermostats and all sorts of stuff. Big company.
Yeah.
Robert Shaw was working for some outfit over here, and part of his job was to go down to the river once a day and check the temperature of the water.
Why?
And he got tired of walking down there in all kinds of weather to check the temperature, so he rigged him up a little thermocouple down there so he could just look at a dial here in the office and
Tell what
the temperature was. And the boss called him and fired him. So he just went and started him a company and done all right.
I would think so, yeah.
I mean, Robert Shaw Controls a big outfit.
Right.
Let's see here if I can pull
Well,
it
what's
up.
going on here locally? Anything?
This is the solar panel deal. We're all getting geared up to be rich men.
Right. Well,
I
let me
really-
ask you, did the city come up with enough money to fix the courthouse? I mean, the city hall roof?
They got a meeting this evening. They're probably up there dividing up the spoils right now.
Right. Well, you reckon they couldn't have saved enough money off the library roof to have fixed city hall roof?
No, they didn't spend that much on it.
Huh?
They wanting $500,000 on that up there, and they didn't spend that. They spent 60-something thousand on that there mansion around through there.
They want $500,000 to fix city hall roof?
Yeah.
Whose brother or cousin runs the roofing
Oh, I don't know. I guess they're gonna put solar panels up there too.
Well, you could build a whole building back for $500,000.
I'm just telling you what it is.
Really, you ought to be able to build that whole building back for $500,000. I mean, look, we got a whole animal shelter for less than $1 million.
Well, that may well be, but I'm just telling you what they said. I ain't the one that makes this stuff up.
Well, the library is bigger than the city hall. Won't they just move the library roof over there on city hall and put another one on the library for $60,000-$70,000?
I don't know.
I mean, after all, it's just, you know, they do real good spending our money. Or are you looking it up and see what it want for it?
I was looking up Robert Shaw. You want me to look up that deal on the... I can find that for you here in just a minute. About what they talked about last week. I don't know what they're talking about right now. Give me a minute here and I'll pull this up. Let's see. Well, I might. My computer's awful slow. Might have something to do with me of making a broadcaster out of it and a computer too.
Maybe.
We're still on air. I guess that's too bad for some people.
Ain't kicked us off yet, have it?
Let's see. I'm looking for... I'll find it here in a minute. This
So
is...
that was you were talking about when we first come in about buying a car.
Yeah.
I got a good old 92 Dodge Dynasty. It's a one-owner car. Got
Two owners. Two
well, I'm
owners.
the second owner. I don't know. He's called Kramer. You know, I'd be the third owner. But it's got honest 90-some thousand on it.
Huh, they had a fire across from the WLAF today.
Pardon?
House on the hill there above, across from
Is that
radio.
where the fire was?
Yeah, burnt down.
Yeah. Well, I figured they had a fire up that way somewhere because they sent the fire truck from down here up there.
Yeah, I ain't never figured that out.
I saw them coming back in later on today, you know.
Well.
Are we going to get some sleet and snow tonight, you think?
Repairs to the leaking roof and the Follett. This is courtesy of WLAF website. Repairs to the leaking roof of the Follett City Hall could cost close to $500,000.
They don't say 1 million square foot.
Well, it says the condition of the roof is apparently much worse than previously thought. Earlier estimate of $429,000 to replace the entire roof and 8 HVAC units. That's the cooling units.
Right.
Along with duct work and wiring. But that could change depending on where the council decides to do the work one section at a time. We're one HVAC unit down, with one about to go down, said Stan Faust, Codes Enforcement Officer and a member of the Follett Planning Commission. If you can come up with the money to fix it all, that would be the best thing to do. It's in bad shape. There are leaks all over the building, not just in one particular spot. $500,000. I'd like to sell roofing to them people.
Yeah, I would do. And some of them units, cooling units.
Yeah.
You know, the commission on that sale of solar panels probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $200,000.
I guess it will. Makes you want to call the ambulance, don't it?
Yeah.
Who you gonna call?
But you know, I would if I thought I was that big a fool. I would want to call an ambulance
and get checked in.
Have them take me to a place and have me committed.
Well, now look, maybe they figure roofs the same way them people in North Carolina figure plumbing.
Possibly.
If you need a ride to the hospital, we recommend using Vital Care. They'll get you there safely, soundly, and really appreciate your business and be good to you.
Tennessee or North Carolina, take you wherever you want to go.
Yeah. 562-9370.
That's their number.
Or you can call 911 and request Vital Care be your ambulance.
Said that right, because Vital Care is now the sole responder in the Caryville area at night, since they moved the ambulance from Caryville up here because of publicity of not having any coverage up here. But it looks like the ambulance service has, the county ambulance service has experienced a little bit more financial stability here recently.
Well, I don't know what's going on in this county, but I know we're going to end up broke before long, and we're going to have to raise taxes, spread the wealth around.
Oh, I know that. Taxes will be raised because, in all honesty, I think the county has spent out what it's got.
Well, I think the city's on the verge of spending out of what they got, and they had a tremendous tax increase about what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something. I mean, they practically doubled them, 2/3. But we had
almost 67%.
Yeah, we had a little discussion. They only went up a few cents.
Right.
But that was from a different baseline.
How you figure it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to live off that 3%.
Yeah, I know it. That 3% will eat you up sometimes.
Right.
So, how much you want for this car?
I want a dozen.
A dozen cars or a dozen eggs?
$1,200.
Would you take a dozen eggs? You reckon you can live off that 4%?
I reckon. That's hard to live off that 4%.
I know it is.
I bought a new switch key for it today. You know,
Okay, 3.5%.
Had lost the keys to it, and put the original radio back in it.
Who'd you buy that off of?
No, it come with the car.
Oh, I just wondered if you already bought it from a guy that stole it.
No, no, putting the original radio back in it. And you know those old cars, you can't hardly kill that 3.3 Dodge engine, but if you shoot it with a 45 pistol, that's a good old engine. Ride's good, steer's good, just as straight as an arrow. Pretty good rubber on it. New battery. And maybe just a few other little tinkering things that I've done to it. If anybody's needing a good automobile, it's got 90-some thousand original miles on it, and I expect it'll go another 90,000 with a little tender loving care.
Might take a whole lot of loving care, Matty.
Boy, I got this old Dodge Dakota mine done.
Boy, it's been through hell too.
$200,000, 200,000 miles, something like that. Never failed to stop. The only problem I had out of it, I was going to North Carolina at one time, and one of the big fuses in the electrical system burned out, and we could not get one. So we took that thing down and soldered it back together. And that was 4 years ago, and I'm still running off that one fuse.
I guess so.
Ain't no way it can blow.
They burn down.
About like putting a penny behind the fuse.
You ain't right, we'll burn up.
No, we just welded, soldered it into place it broke, and so it could burn out somewhere else. Hey, are you checking to see if I'm in the obituaries?
I'm losing if you did.
No, we've already told them I was alive. You wouldn't want to dispute that claim. But what's going on tomorrow night? We got any guests coming?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Are you coming?
I'm trying to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, well. Yeah, I'm back. Better than ever, I reckon.
Well, it'd have to be better.
It couldn't be no worse. Yeah, folks, we're going to do a little sit-to with you tomorrow night, and might discuss a few things and talk a little bit about this Shriners dinner that I got coming up here on the 15th, which will be not this Saturday night, next Saturday night. And mighty good eating. You get a big old plate of spaghetti, you get a salad, you get your bread, you get your tea, and you get dessert. And I guarantee you it's good.
Where's that?
Shriners spaghetti shop.
I mean, right up here across the road?
Right up here across here at the house.
You mean like on 15th of March?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday night a week.
Gonna have it right over yonder.
They gonna do that just right up
And
there,
all
right before you get to the new bridge from here.
Wild Bob and Ronnie Bridge.
Yeah.
Right out there beside the Davy Young and Cliff Jennings swimming pool.
Right, Memorial Mud Hole.
Memorial Meadow, yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, they all the proceeds goes to help the shrine children in this area, the sick and injured, the ones that's got to go to the hospital, crippled and damaged and all sorts of things. So it's a good deal.
Oh, let me ask, did they have a sign put up down there at the end of the lot? I bet it ain't there after tonight.
May not be.
I just don't believe it will, but I don't even know whether that sign I got on the tire company is going to be there after tonight.
I don't know whether I'm going out first tonight either. I may let you go out first and I'll get behind you.
If it blows me away. Okay, alrighty. We're coming right along here right good, you know, and we're what 17 days away from spring. 16.
Well, this is the 5th. I don't know, is it on the 20th, 21st, 22nd?
I don't know. I figured right in the middle, 21st.
I did, that's what I figured too.
Days, you know.
Well, it's just awful close. It's 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah, a little over 2 weeks, and you know, if the ground was dry enough, it'd do right now to put some potatoes in the ground.
It'd be hard to get that snow raked back in the morning, though.
Huh?
It'd be hard to get that snow raked back in the morning.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something. They tell you that stuff won't grow, won't come up in the winter time, but I found something that sprouts good in cold weather.
What's that?
Wild bird seed.
Wild bird seed.
Yeah, I put some wild bird seed out one day, and I come in that evening, and there's wild birds everywhere. I mean, it just come right up.
Right.
I never seen the beat. I had red birds and blue birds and yellow birds. Hello.
About like
Feller can plant that wild bird seed and eat off
like
of it.
couple city people come out and gonna start them a chicken farm.
Yeah.
And they bought 10,000 chickens.
Yeah.
Bitties, little bitty bitties. About a month later, they come in and said, we need 10,000 more little chickens. The old guy at the hatchery said, look, so you must be going to have a pretty good sized chicken farm. He bought 10,000, and he's buying 10,000 more. They said, well, we got a problem. We ain't got the first 10,000 to come up yet.
Yeah, okay. I guess that'd make a chicken farm. Poor little fellers had to bury them one at a time,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Hand plant them.
Right. I think I'll raise my Irish potatoes. And I like good homemade, homegrown Irish potatoes.
You can go out and gravel them out and they're
Yeah,
little.
when you dig them out, they just taste so much better cooked with some good old green beans or something of that nature.
Peas.
And not that your ball potatoes are that bad, but I just like the taste of the homegrown. I raise mine in tires. You ever seen anybody do that?
Yeah.
You raise them in tires.
You better not let the city catch you raise them in tires.
Well, I don't know. What did they say about all those tires over there? Since they were already there, you couldn't do nothing about it.
Yeah, they already buried them.
Huh?
They already buried them.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm burning those tires one at a time from the inside rather than from the outside.
Now what do you do? Just keep stacking them on top of each other and throwing in more
That's
dirt?
what you do. Yeah, you can probably, if your potatoes grow real good, you get pretty good season on them.
How many supers do you have to put on?
I usually put about 3.
Then you go out there and turn them over?
Huh?
You go out there and turn them over in the fall?
I usually destroy them, take them off and destroy the mulch and everything. You can go back and do it again. But you know, you can keep adding mulch to it, and your old potato vine will keep growing up above the dirt, and then it will produce potatoes all the way from almost the top tire all the way down. You know, I mean, you get a couple of bushels of potatoes out of one set.
Got
of
one
tires.
set of tires.
Yeah, I said that right. Well, you can pour. I still got your book on square foot gardening.
I'd forgot what I'd done with it.
I got it. Square foot gardening. And
I got to get my garden ready.
I got my tars ready.
I got to buy me a couple of lawnmowers for spring.
2. Well, you need 2.
So one will have company.
Okay. I got 2 nice ones up there for sale.
No, I ain't the kind I'm wanting.
Huh?
I ain't the kind of lawnmowers I'm wanting.
Oh, you want them?
I'm wanting them like you sold me that time. Them wouldn't let me have them.
You want some goats?
Yeah.
Uh,
If I get them turned loose in time, they can dig out my other lawnmower. It's buried in the weeds.
It's buried in the grass.
Yeah.
Well, that's understandable. Last time I saw a goat sold up at Tazewell, a little goat, a little big thing, it sold at the Joker for $100.
Well, what's a lawnmower cost?
Well, I guess you're right. It's almost
You got to push it, buy gas for it. What do you mow them? Where do you mow them in the winter so they won't starve to death?
What's that?
You just change the oil in and
You don't have to worry about a goat starving to death if you turn him loose. He'll eat the siding off your house if he gets hungry.
They'll bark a cedar tree.
Yeah, I know they will.
I don't know. I didn't know anything to eat a cedar tree till I saw one.
Yeah, they'll do that.
They'll bark it and kill it.
They'll bark other trees, too.
No, but they'll kill a cedar tree. They like that.
Yeah, old goat, he's very, very resourceful when it comes to finding food. I was out the house, out the farm the other day, and the biggest, old prettiest dog down there, and I could tell he was hungry. And I had a bag of food in my car, and I just stopped alongside the road and poured him about a half bag of food out so he'd have him something to eat, you know. And I don't know whose dog he was, a big old pretty dog, big old white dog.
Well, you probably made a friend.
Yeah, probably did. He probably stand there and starve to death waiting for me to come back.
You ought to taught him to fish.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, they say you give a man a fish, you feed him for one day, but if you teach him how to fish, he can sit and drink beer all day.
Well, if you give a man a fish, then you're going to have to feed him the rest of his life. If you teach him how to fish, he feed himself.
No,
let me tell you
you teach him how to fish, he can sit in the boat and drink beer all day.
Hey, let me tell you something here. You know, I run across things every day that remind me of how our system has corrupted and perverted the natural instinct of people to provide for themselves and to prosper and that sort of thing.
I like perverted people.
Yeah. I know this guy, he always bugging me, wanting a job, wanting to better himself and this, that, and the other. And I said, well, look, I've got paying all the people I can afford to pay. I said, why don't you go sign up for a temporary service? He said, oh, I'll draw a check. I can't do that. I said, well, you are a prime example of how that little old check from the government has made you poor.
Yeah.
It gives you just enough money you can't never have nothing, but just enough that you don't want to turn loose of it for fear you won't have anything.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. I said, look, I've always said that the more you give somebody, the poorer you make them. And the check you get from the government is a prime example. I guarantee you that if I did not get my little old Social Security check, if I needed that amount of money, I'd go work and make it, and make more.
Well, you know, I never even think about getting one. It goes in the bank, and there ain't enough of it to worry about anyway.
Right.
I'd be just fine if I didn't get it.
Right.
The only reason I signed up is I figured as much as they take off of me, I wanted to get as much as I could back. All I've done so far this year is pay taxes, and I got to pay them some more before the 15th.
Get your eyes off me next time.
Now, I could use a little.
But you take my dad, he drew his Social Security for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
And his railroad retirement for 35 years because he got his Social Security off the farm, and he drew railroad retirement for 35 years. Mama drew her railroad retirement for 30 years.
How did she retire from a railroad?
Well,
his off of him?
Spouse gets a portion of your retirement.
Okay.
And
I thought maybe she was a fireman or something.
No, fireman, one of them diesel.
Yeah. Young diesel. They don't do nothing. They call that feather bedding.
Yeah. But, you know, I used to ride them trains when they actually had a fireman, and I have actually, as a little boy, they'd let me throw some coal in that furnace, that fire that was going, you know, and I'd get up my, they'd let me ride in the engine with them, you know, they'd ride from Greensboro out to the station in McLeansville. and because my dad worked for the Southern Railway, and they had to stop, let you off. Well, they stopped the engine there at the fire at the depot, and I'd bail out that engine, you know, and it wasn't but about a mile home, and I've been sent home a many a time from Greensboro, North Carolina. I go to work with my dad, and he'd send me back home on a train, and I'd ride in the engine out there to the depot and get off. So I've seen them working.
Well, I never did do much train riding.
I did during the Second World War when my brothers and all my brother-in-laws and everybody was in service, except I had one brother at home. We traveled everywhere that the Southern Railway went, and we'd pay just a little extra, and we had us one of those sleeper cars, Pullman cars. And Mom and Daddy, we didn't have all that much money, but after getting rid of 7 kids and having one left, Daddy had a good job, you know, and we made pretty good money off that, pretty good sized farm, made pretty good money off that farm. It's kind of like a Folsom Prison. We was eating in that fancy dining car going down the road there, drinking.
You drinking coffee and smoking big cigars?
Big long cigars. And,
yeah.
So yeah, my mother, she was kind of the educated one in the family. My dad didn't have a third grade education, but he made all the money, you know. And but Mama could play the piano, and she had formal training in etiquette and how to poise and all that kind of stuff, you know. But she still liked to get down dirty on that piano. She could tear that piano up. And she played by ear or by notes, either one. And my sisters, they always wanted to be able to play as good as their mama could. And they took lessons all their life, but they never did have the ability to play by ear like my mama did. She hear it one time on the radio and go in there and just tear that piano up. And she's very, very talented. And I've sat there many a night, and she'd play that old piano, and we'd sing, and because there wasn't anything else there, no TV. You had a battery-powered radio. We could listen to Adolf Hitler, or we could listen to Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek over there in Formosa, well, he was actually on mainland China when we heard him.
Yeah. And we got to tell them about Napa, and then we got to go home. Napa Auto Parts up there across from the IGA. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
That's where I get all my parts.
Parts for what?
Well, anything I got.
They got parts for lawnmowers as long as they ain't them there organic kind of lawnmowers.
Yeah, mechanical type lawnmowers. I don't know whether they got any parts for a billy goat or not.
I don't know either. They could probably order some. Napa Auto Parts, they got anything you need in the automotive or really in the mechanical line. If you've got an old tractor or lawnmower or sled you want a part for.
I bet you those goats are connected with Napa.
You reckon?
They're always spitting out them little brown ball bearings.
I bet that's it.
Yeah.
In our little ball bearing factories. Folks, don't hold this against Napa. Go up and give them a little business. 562-2526 or 9406.
Roll down and see Randy. He has nothing to do with
No. Don't take it out on him.
this foolishness we carry on.
And that...
He's knowledgeable. They got access to over 200,000 parts and all kinds of distributorships and connections that they can fix up anything to an antique farm tractor to the latest model vehicle that you're driving.
And that, folks, makes this show exactly 1 hour and 10, 11, 12 seconds long. So we thank you. Watch us tomorrow night. You can see us at Channel 12 locally, or you can see us here on UGG TV again. If they've got their machine running up there, well, I don't control.
We will be here.
Yeah.
I
hope.
guarantee it.
Happy trails. See you.